Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to USC Postgame Live here on the Voice of College Football's USC channel. I'm Tony Altimore here, as always, with Rick Anaya, LBC Trojan, who'll be joining us in just a sec. Well, guys, it was one more time under the lights. USC and Stanford met for the 102nd meeting of the Trojans and the Cardinal, and it was an annihilation as USC won its final Stanford game. The final score was 56-10. Could have been about 150-3 if they'd wanted. USC's backups played the entire second half after USC built up a dominating 49-3 lead. It was so absurd that Traveler the horse actually took off the last two touchdowns because the horse needed a break before halftime. Absolutely amazing, and USC leads with the first time in history that USC has ever scored 50 or more points in 3 games to open the season. We've never had anything like this, and here we are. Now, live from the LA Coliseum, guys, outside the gates, we've got Rick, LBC Trojan. Rick, talk to us. What was it like at the game tonight?
Well, I had a great time, Tony. I was with a lot of friends. We actually got upgraded at the last moment to some really good seats. And it was pretty spectacular.
I saw you were in the scholarship club.
Yes, and I bumped into Bobby Valentine. So the ex-Dodger and the former Mets manager, and he's currently the broadcaster on Bally Sports.
Yeah,
West of the Angels. Yes.
He is one of my fraternity brothers and actually a good friend of my uncle's.
Okay.
So
all right, yes, I figured that as much, Mr. Collins, your uncle. And I bumped into Jaywalk. It was pretty spectacular tonight. This was, if you Trojans out there recall, there was a game that was called What's Your Deal with Jim Harbaugh. And
we all remember the What's Your Deal game.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the game, with like 5 minutes left to go, Lincoln Riley called a timeout, and he was looking at the refs and going, "What's your effing deal?" Because the refs are just horrible. You know, they were horrible.
Well, it was Duddy. It was one of the worst refs in the entire Pac-12.
This was Duddy, and I was yelling for him. Yeah, go run and take a look at that review.
And we've got Tim with us now as well. Welcome back, Tim.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Not much. We got Rick live outside the Coliseum. And Tim, you were there tonight as well, too, right?
Yep, just got back.
Welcome back. Guys, tell us, how did it feel? Those watching on TV, it looked like this was 2005, 2008. Did it feel like that in the game?
The first half felt that way. It looked like the offense could do whatever they wanted. It looked like Bear Alexander was just absolutely a wrecking ball on that line, just blowing everything up, letting guys eat. You know, I've been talking about last year, I talked about it in the offseason, when you're collapsing that pocket, when you're making that quarterback uncomfortable, you saw that he just tossed the ball up, and Max Williams got an interception, got right on the spot, and set the team up like all day. It just seemed like that the line, especially Bear, and Keon Bars, they were just absolutely crushing that pocket, forcing him, making him uncomfortable. So it was a great game defensively, and they shut him down. When the team was running and moving the ball, they did it through the air, chunk plays on the ground as well. So it was pretty amazing.
It was. They had their will. I believe every touchdown in the first half was scored by a different player too.
Is this button supposed to be on the P?
And one of the other things that I thought was kind of special is that we got an entire half of the backups. In fact, so much so that laughably at this point in the season, our backup quarterback Miller Moss now has more rushing touchdowns than Caleb Williams.
That's an amazing stat. And I heard you talking about the 350-plus games to start the season. That's a great stat. I heard leaving the stadium another stat that so in, I guess, a season and 3 games, Lincoln Riley's offenses have scored 55 or more points, more than the entire 12 years before him. So eclipsing that 55 number on the scoreboard has been done more times under Lincoln Riley. And let's say what? So you have 12, 13, 14. So 17 games. Yep. In 17 games, more than the Trojans were able to eclipse 55 in the previous 12 years. So that's a pretty amazing stat. Thank you, Pete Arbogast, for that one. It just shows you how explosive this offense could be. But I really want to say that the stars of this show today, as amazing as Zachariah Branch and Michael Jackson, I didn't see the play, Tony. I'd love to see what that holding call was. Can't wait to watch it. Just showing out. And it just seemed like every time in the stands, whenever Zachariah Branch would get the ball either on a kick, a punt, or just a ball, lobbed on the crossing route, the entire stadium just said there's a hush over the entire stadium. Like, he's already getting that name for himself. So it's going to be amazing to see what his career, and he's 3 games into his young career. It's amazing to see what he's doing the next game. He
definitely earned it. I'll tell you what was really amazing to me tonight was the stuff. I mean, and it was Stanford. They are not a great team, but they looked okay last week. What amazed me tonight was the tremendous play of the defense. They owned the line of scrimmage. They dominated the passers. They covered. They stuffed the run. They sacked the quarterback. I thought, the best USC defensive performance we've seen in years. What did you guys think of the defense tonight?
It was amazing overall. I mean, it's hard to nitpick this, but they're still giving up some long runs. And early in the first half, they're having a real hard time setting that edge. Filkins had that 59-yarder.
You're not whining about the defense after tonight's game, are we?
I'm not whining. But I'm not going to sit up here and say that there's no problems with our defense.
No, certainly there are. And of course, tonight, and again, we're playing against Stanford, which is not a great team. But I was amazed at the progress of the defense in the last 3 games, because I think we were really worried about it in the first game. I thought they looked much better in the second game, and I thought they looked really great tonight. And of course, who knows what the rest of the season will bring. But Stanford was as good a team, or a better team, I thought, than the 2 teams we've played, or the rest of earlier in the season, the G5 teams. But certainly USC just absolutely dominated them. And I was a little disappointed with the early second half backups. I thought they should have run the ball a little more solidly, but also they certainly weren't getting they were getting play calls to wear down the game, not run it down the field.
Yeah, going back to those big plays, those chunk plays, the explosives, that has been one thing I've been looking at the entire season. And so it still is concern. And another concern that many people have been talking about is the fact that when it does happen, they're on 2 straight plays. One was Filkins, and the next one was Smith. They're getting that edge. They're getting around the corner, and it just seems like there's nobody there. Inside looked great. They did close that down after a while, but it's still happening where you're giving up the big plays. And again, against better teams, you're right. This is Stanford, and it was a great win. And the defense should really feel good about themselves, the way they kept them out of the end zone for so long in the game, especially a couple of goal line stands, almost really, where they're right there knocking. They're able to stop them. But there still is quite a concern that there's a breakdown there somewhere. Maybe it's just a product of having guys rotating in. That absolutely could be it. These guys just need those reps. But we'll feel a lot better once they do have a chance to just cut down on those plays, because we start playing teams like the Ducks, or where they have playmakers. Actually looking now and keep watching the Notre Dame game. You giving up explosive plays, it's going to be painful to watch. And it's one thing I'm hoping that they're moving and improving every game.
Yeah, well, hey guys, one of the things. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say. I think the defense was better today. I agree with Tim. There were a few frustrating moments where they had a couple long run plays, but I want to go back to, I think it was the 4th Stanford drive. You had, previously in the game, you had an interception by Max Williams that was outstanding. This 4th drive, you had another Max Williams pass deflection, and you had Solomon Byrd coming in, and he caused a fumble on Ashton Daniels, which was recovered by Stanford, but that knocked Ashton Daniels out of the game. And the next play, the running back Filkins had a loss in the backfield again by Solomon Byrd. Solomon Byrd was very active tonight. And so that kind of capsulized, in a sense, just the dominating fashion that we haven't seen the USC defense play. They're making some plays. Granted, the first couple games you had San Jose State, you had Nevada, but this was the first Pac-12 game. Stanford had a good game, a good win against Hawaii on the road. This was going to be the last Pac-12 game against Stanford, so you could tell both teams were chippy, but USC was up for it, and they shut down Stanford. Stanford could do nothing all game. Yes, they did have a few plays, but you had Caleb Williams. I think that first touchdown that Caleb had, he just jacked up number 4, the defensive back. He pushed him like a blocking sled for the last 2 yards of that touchdown. That was phenomenal. That was a Heisman moment. And he had a couple Heisman moments in this game. So USC was jacked up, not only on offense, but defense. And then, special teams with Zachariah Branch doing what he does with the punt return.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
had a couple of great moments again. Like he had a play where he had a play where he had the ball and he scrambled out to his right, and it looked like he was coming underneath and then out of the back of the field. I think I didn't catch the end of it, but he threw it to the back of the end zone. I think it might have been Singer. I'm not sure yet, but came out just out of nowhere. And that arm strength that Caleb showed off tonight again, making throws that. Really, there's very few players, maybe even the NFL can make some of the throws that he was making tonight. So just amazing to see how that offense was rolling, oiled. These games are getting a little bit harder. Stanford is not a great team, but they continue to show that with teams as the quality of the teams go up, they're still actually, it seems like on both sides of the ball, they're getting better, and that's a great sign.
All right. Well, let's bring in one of our favorite guests who wants to talk to us. We've got live from Australia. We've got Megan calling from Australia. Megan, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, love the win, but let's pump the brakes. It's Stanford. Is our defense going to continue like this against the bigger teams?
Well,
I hope so. No, let's be honest. I am so far out on Alex Grinch. He would have to do something remarkable for me to like him. I don't. So glad Miller Moss got some runs. Little upset he did better than Caleb, but hey, give the kid a chance. Yeah, I'm very concerned about our defense had a great game. Let's not sugarcoat it. I don't see it continuing. Sorry to be. I hope it does. But overall, I'm loving what I see from this team. As I said to you last week, I'm a little concerned that it won't continue with these bigger teams. I'm thinking the Fighting Irish, and please, can we have that score against the Fighting Irish so I can shut a few people up down here?
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Wouldn't it be brilliant? But yeah, I want to like the defense more, but I don't see it doing this against stronger teams. What say you, gentlemen?
I don't see us getting 580 or whatever yards in the first half against better teams, but I thought that they really delivered exactly what we needed. They did it against a rival. They did it solidly. Like there's little stuff to nitpick. There were some penalties. Yeah, there were a couple big plays that we probably should have had. But Stanford is they're not the worst team on our schedule. And they're not the worst team we've played yet so far this year, and yet we just absolutely steamrolled them. I look at this game as being exactly what the team should be doing, and I leave tonight sleeping sound and overall tremendously pleased with the performance.
I am too, Tony, and that's not my complaint. My complaint is, can it be sustained against the Notre Dames, against these bigger teams we are yet to play? We had the worst there's only one other team in football that has a worse back end to a season than we do, and that's the Seahawks. Yeah, I said it. I could be wrong here, fellas, but I don't see us maintaining it. I don't mean you need to steamroll a team by 50, 60, 70, 80 points every week. A 5-point game would be good if we can sustain it. I don't think we can. I could be wrong. I don't know.
What do you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think? How do you think we'll sustain it through the rest of the year? And we'd love to hear what you guys think. So the link is in the chat. We'd love for you guys to chime in and join us. Tell us what you guys think of the games.
Yeah, I agree with back to orthodoxy. You never fire on the first week. I'm not worried about the first week. I'm worried about week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and subsequent weeks. But I could be wrong, and we could blow them out every week. I don't know.
Well, Megan, if it does help, the issues that they had that plagued them last year, those run fits, having that gap sound defense they had, that seems like it's sorted out. There were a couple of runs that would bounce outside that are troublesome because those are the issues that have plagued us, last year that haven't been cleaned up.
Right.
But overall, the bonus are is just the tackling is amazing. Tackett was insane getting inside there. They were absolutely harassing the quarterbacks. They knocked out a quarterback. Not that I'm looking for injury. That just shows you how physical these guys are. And they're that poor guy, whoever was back there, whatever quarterback they did have back there, was just getting hammered on play after play. They held USC, who was their tight end. We've had trouble with tight ends in the past. I thought they did a great job on him early in the game. They were trying to go to him like often, and the fact that they were able to keep him from getting that run after the catch or get the ball and tackle him when they're still keeping him from getting the first down on third down. Rajon Davis, I think it was one of the early drives, first or second drive, Ursic gets the ball about 3 yards short, and he's able to tackle and keep him from getting the first down. We had problems with that kind of thing last year. We had trouble getting pressure on the quarterback. We got a lot of interceptions on the back end, but usually those from tip balls or a really good break on the ball. We're getting them now because the quarterback isn't comfortable back there. Our line, Romello Height had a great game again. Bird had a great game again.
Bird was fantastic tonight.
Yeah, Muhammad. I mean, those guys were just causing just chaos back there. So these are the positives going into the games we're going to see against the Notre Dames and the Oregons, the better offenses. And it doesn't matter, they're going to have more pieces out there, but the key to USC is the back end is that front and that attack and getting off the edge, right, and getting to that quarterback. Because if they could do that, it's going to make everyone else, the second level and third level's job, a lot easier.
And just another quick question, gentlemen. Thinking of the NFL, what do you think of Caleb not wanting to go to Arizona? Do not blame him. My brother loves that team. They're a dumpster fire. And it's talking, I think his father said he may stay another year at USC to prevent that. What are you guys thinking on that? I do not want him in Arizona because that team will kill him.
I think they're just sending a message. Caleb's going to the NFL. He's not.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of money, whatever they want to talk about NIL that he get, and it's not even that. Let's say he got a bunch of NIL money. That's still going to be peanuts compared to that second contract. Caleb wants to get into the NFL and get onto that second contract because that's where the big money comes.
Yeah, absolutely. I just don't want him in Arizona because that team will kill him, even though my brother does. But okay, fellas. Okay, fellas, fight on.
Fight on, Megan. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, boys.
Fight on, Megan.
Take care.
Take care. All right. Next up to bat, we've got Carter Monroe. Carter, welcome to the show.
Fight on, fight on.
Fight on, Carter. What'd you think of the game tonight?
It was real business-like. They dominated the first half like I thought they would. Defense looked better. But I'm just happy these first 3 games over with. I felt like these first 3 games wasn't really going to tell us much. But I've been looking. Arizona State, they look better than I thought. And then we got Colorado on the 30th. Most people, we was thinking the season wasn't going to start till we played Notre Dame. But Now Arizona and Colorado, them gonna be some games like we can't overlook them. So I'm happy these first 3 games is out the way because I kind of felt like there was gonna be blowouts. And now after this bye, I think we finna come back into some. We finna really see what USC got playing Arizona State and then Colorado on the 30th. She worried about Notre Dame, but we got to play Arizona State and Colorado first. I'm worried about going to Boulder.
That's going to be a good, an interesting game. I'll tell you, I think it's going to be an interesting week to see what happens with happens first with Colorado and Oregon, because that's a game that we saw. You know, it happens before us, and we saw it tonight. Oregon looked splashes of great and splashes of mediocre in their win in Lubbock.
Yeah, that Colorado Oregon. Do they play next? When do Colorado play Oregon?
2 weeks.
Next week or the week after? I think, is it the week after next?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be a good game. The Pac-12 looking decent, even though I was rooting against Oregon, but when they won, I'm like, okay, I want the rest of the Pac-12 teams to win. But I think Arizona lost to Mississippi State, and I'm like, dang, what happened?
Overtime.
I thought Arizona looked good in that game. I mean, I thought they actually didn't think they'd come that close, and they took it to overtime. And you know, I look at that game and I say that game is a solid performance by Arizona.
Yeah,
the game was ugly with Cal. Cal blew the chance to beat. Cal absolutely blew many chances to beat Auburn, and we'll talk about that when we do our score breakdown for the conference today.
Cal lost to Auburn. I was watching; they was winning. What happened?
Well, they missed, I don't know, a bunch of field goals. They missed. I mean, it was like every time Cal took 1 step forward, they took 2 steps back today. So it was really too bad for them.
Oh man! But anyway, go to Pac-12 looking stronger though. So I think that's gonna be good for USC. It's gonna be the Pac-12 went out with a bang this year. Every team surprised.
You got it.
Carter, do you have any questions about USC, Carter, or comments about USC?
No, that's pretty much what I had to say. We played business like. I ain't got nothing to complain about. I can't say nothing about Grinch today. We gave
so you're not a Grinch guy, right? Is that right, Carter?
No, I'm not. I'm not a Grinch guy.
What did you see today?
To say the truth, go ahead.
Well, did you see anything today that might change your mind in any way?
Yeah, I see he's simplifying it more and let the talent just be the talent instead of trying to be Bill Belichick on defense and do something exotic. So I like that he's kind of like, he seemed like he's simplifying it a little more and letting the players play. I feel like Grinch, he be doing too much. In the past, he done overcompensated for having a lack of talent. So I think he be scheming too much. But the last 2 games, I think he be listening to you guys, because I heard you guys talking about it like we need to simplify things. So I think Grinch been listening, because the last couple of games, he simplified it to defense and let them play. But besides the 2 big runs they gave up, I can't say nothing about Grinch. I'm starting to believe that the type of scheme that we run, we gonna give up big run plays every now and then, because the scheme we run is kind of speed. We want to get tackled for losses, so players gonna get out the gap sometimes. So I think I gotta lay off Grinch with the big runs, just on the nature of the defense and how they trying to play in a get tackled for losses or get pressure and interceptions like the Bear play with the Max Williams. But playing like that, sometimes you're going to get out of run fit and we going to give up big plays. So Grinch, he quieted me for the next 2 weeks, so I can't be mad. I can't be mad. I'm pleased with Grinch these last 2 weeks. So I'm going to be fair. He's done a good job.
We'll take that, Carter, won't we?
Yeah, fight on.
Fight on.
We got to have a bye week. So you guys still going to be doing the show? We still doing another show next week? Or the bye week, y'all taking a bye too?
Well, there's no game for a post-game show, but we will be doing the Pac-12 show on Wednesday nights.
All right, I'll be there. I'll be there.
We'll look forward to it. Thanks for calling in.
All right, fight on, y'all.
Fight on, Carter.
Thank you.
All right,
Carter made some good points, Tony. Carter made some good points, but the good thing is there's gonna be some film. There's gonna be game film that they're gonna be able to. Those problems we're having right now, they're problems that can't be fixed in practice. These are things where the players aren't playing, sound defense. I guarantee that's not how the scheme is set, so guys can go around that edge like that. This is their game film. They're gonna study that game film at practice, and they're gonna show those things up. The focus is the fact that we have players now. We have players who can disrupt defenses, and that's the thing I'm looking for going forward.
The disruption was something else tonight. Well, let's welcome. We got Gixxer Squid here. Gixxer, welcome to the show. You were at the game tonight. How was it being there for the big victory?
It was really good. Full disclosure, I left at half, which was a good feeling given the score. But no, it went really well. I thought the game was really well. I don't know how my observations translated to the television, but to me, I noticed a lot of penetration, and I noticed what I thought was tenacity and effort. Like just people trying to get out of tackles, trying to just drive forward a little bit extra. There was just a sense of urgency to really just, I don't know, put forth a little bit more there. I know Megan earlier was talking about Grinch, and full disclosure, as you all know, I'm not that big of a Grinch fan, but at the same time, a game like this, I expected the defense to be stronger, and Grinch delivered, right? I mean, it just seemed like this is something that we just need to keep moving forward. This is a game that the outcome's not a surprise, but as far as the defense, let's just keep the momentum. The environment was really cool. They had a drone light show, which was really neat. I felt like the attendance was higher than last home game. But no, I loved it. Great outcome. I kind of wish the Stanford quarterback wouldn't have got injured, so perhaps it would have been a little bit more of a real testament to Stanford, but great performance.
What talk to us about Rick and Tim, who were there, and I wanted to get some video uploaded, but I couldn't get it transferred to work in time. But talk to us about the cool drone light show. That's it. The pictures looked like it was a lot of fun and something pretty different for halftime.
I didn't really see it, but Tim, you want to comment on it?
Yeah, I put a couple videos up on Twitter. It was amazing. The first time I've ever seen. I've seen drone shows before, but nothing like that. That was something else. I've never seen one in person. Like I've seen Super Bowls, etc., but in person I saw one that was not that impressive. This one had everything from it had the peristyle torch in the end. It had a Trojan sword. It had the USC Trojan emblem, the helmet emblem on the side. Then they had one where a football was spinning, and then it went and morphed into a Heisman Trophy. It was fun. It was a great video. It was a great halftime. I was getting ready for our typical Stanford halftime, and obviously you can't do it in a Stanford shows their thing. So we were all spared that moment, and the drone show was truly amazing, and the fans love it. It was really electric. They dimmed the lights.
A lot of fans in the seats.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they dimmed the lights. It's turning into a rock concert every time you go to an SC game now. Night games, you guys, if you haven't got out there, they're doing it across the country as well. But they dim the lights. They got the fire going. They got all kinds of effects at the games during touchdowns. It's a great time. The night games. I don't really like night games. I usually like day games much better. But the night games, they're really making it a fun place to be. Absolutely. The fan experience. I saw Rusty retweeted somebody's video. The Coliseum was alive in the first half. I mean, everyone bailed. Everyone bailed after Caleb came out, and we stalled a couple drives. But at that point, the game was well over. But people stayed. Even the game got out of hand through the first half, and even into the third quarter, people still hung around. And that's a testament to what they're doing on the field. You could tell before the game, you could see that Coach Lincoln was looking up into the crowd and saw that, although it was, a decent crowd, it wasn't a sellout. You'd think for the last Stanford USC game, you thought the numbers would be better. And if anyone out here, my plea to you guys is for you, not for USC. You guys, if you live within range, if you live within 50, 60 miles of USC and you're not coming to the games and you're a USC fan, you truly are missing out.
Well,
Yeah,
and
truly missing
tonight's
out
attendance, by the
because
way, was between 67 and 67,000 out of 77. So yeah, you're right, about 10,000 empty seats.
Yeah, people
Sorry,
are
Rick, go
truly
ahead.
missing out if you didn't show up to this game, because this was the last time we're going to play Stanford. You know, it's a 7:30 night game. It's on Fox. There's no excuse not to be there. I was disappointed it wasn't sold out, but hey, that's USC fans for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they're hung up on Grinch, but I'll tell you what. If you look at this game for what USC needed to do, he needed to shut down Ben Urasek. That's their best player. He's the tight end. So you know what he had? That guy had like 4 catches for like 54 yards.
Yeah.
They tried getting him the ball and a few handoffs. He had 4 carries for 19 yards. Yes, Phil Gist did have a 59-yard run, but the dude ran for a total of 64 yards. So, yeah, there were a few plays that we got ripped on, but what you needed to do on this team was shut down Ashton Daniels, because he can run, and shut down Urasek, and then make everybody else beat you. John Humphreys, he's a great little wide receiver out of Newport Beach, California. He had 2 catches for 42 yards. So if you look at it from who can beat you and how you shut them down, you put pressure on him, you shut him down. Yeah, you did leak a couple of plays, and everybody's going to point to that. Well, how could he have a 59-yard run? How could E.J. Smith have a 20-yard run? I could care less. We knocked the quarterback out of the game, right? Urasek didn't do anything. Did he get any touchdowns? No. Stanford couldn't do anything all night. So if we gave up 3 or 4 big run plays, so be it. We kicked their butt. It was payback for what's your deal. We shut them down. What's the score?
And what I loved about it is
they scored a meaningless touchdown in the last 4 minutes of the game.
And what I loved is it was almost worse than the "What's Your Deal" game, because we gave them the mercy element of it and still just absolutely destroyed them.
Tony, we could have gone for 2 at the end of the half and put 50 on them like they did when they went for the 2. That's what pissed off Pete, is they're still going for touchdowns and going for 2 and stuff, and that's what set them up. That was a hey, what's your deal? Part of that whole thing is it was absolutely classless. I mean, what Jim Harbaugh did in that game was truly classless, and Rick, that's why to start the show. That's what I talked about with Urasek. They just absolutely controlled that guy. You guys, on Monday, it's gonna be a great day. We're gonna be talking, Matt, Mark, and I. We'll be talking about this game. There's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But if you caught last Monday, what I said is you gotta, I have 2 guys, 6'5", both of them. I think they might give us some trouble. And I said Urasek, and I said Humphreys. These 2 guys, and they're both talented. And USC's defense should absolutely be applauded. The pressure on the quarterback and getting to him, because defense did bottle those 2 guys up. I will say that there were 3 or 4 plays that a lot of the quarterbacks that we're going to be facing, the backup quarterback couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Except for that really nice throw, but there were some wide open dudes that he just completely missed. I'm gonna go back and watch the game, but just live, I saw like 3 or 4 plays where guys were wide open and a couple of drops there. So as dominant as the performance was, a better team may make us pay for those things.
For sure.
Hey Tony, real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I was gonna hop off. Jeff in the comment brought up Zachariah Branch, and my humor is a little uncouth at times, so I changed my logos with the tree and the branches, and we just were on fire tonight. But I love it. I love the fact that whenever we have a touchdown now, as a fan, I feel like it's a BOGO moment. It's like we earn a touchdown and we might get one in 15 seconds, the way Zachariah Branch is just returning those balls. So kudos to him. But anyways, hey, thanks for having me on the show, and I will talk to you guys later. So fight on.
Thanks.
Fight on.
Fight on.
Gixer.
Hey guys, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about a drive. It was USC's 6th drive of the night. It was pretty epic because Caleb Williams had a couple of great passes to Taj Washington, and then Caleb Williams had a Heisman moment, another one. He had a sick touchdown pass. He was rolling to his right, and it was a scramble. He was rolling to his right sideline, and he flung to the back of the end zone and found Dorian Singer for that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
That was just insane. That was just, he's running to his right, and he just flicked that thing, and it hummed and found Dorian Singer in the end zone. That was just an amazing touchdown. And it was effortless. Like, he does this once a game. He'll make just a remarkable play. And what we're seeing right now, and that's what's upsetting, is that people don't realize you're not coming to the Coliseum, and everybody's got their excuses, but Caleb Williams is freaking amazing. So you're missing out on just spectacular play. And he played one half. So we're going to hear about this week about Michael Penix and Sam Hartman. Yeah, these guys are playing like 3 quarters to a full game. Caleb Williams is playing a half to 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. So he's pretty spectacular. It's amazing.
Yeah, you heard Deion Sanders talking about Shedeur, and he's playing. He put 500 yards last game, and he had a great game again today. But he's playing full games, throwing the ball all over the place. He's like, he look like Heisman. You know, he's the best one out there and stuff like that. I mean, I get it. You know, he's a coach. He's your kid and everything. But anyone that's watching these games, like Rick just said, that play he made, I was saying, you know, that throw, Rick. There's very few people, even in the NFL, that are going to make that play the way he made it. So yeah, I'm just amazed at what. And you guys, we are watching. I was a big Matt Leinart fan. I'm a big Carson Palmer. I'm a Rodney Peete fan. You know, I'm a Paul McDonald fan on video because on film I've seen. But we've never had a quarterback like this. And even if you have to make a trip out to LA, he's not Megan. I'm sorry, he's not coming back next year. If you don't get out to the Coliseum this year, you guys, you're gonna miss most likely the greatest quarterback ever to play at USC play. So that's spot on. It's true.
All right. On that note, we've got Avery Nobles calling in. Avery, what'd you think of the game tonight?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Fight on.
Fight on.
Avery, what's happening, man?
Thanks for calling, man.
Hey, you know I call every week. This week, not bad at all this week. I have nothing bad to say this week. Hey, Grinch is on my good list this week. He's getting it together, and hey, is it me or have they kind of motivated Bear to seem like he can be the best D lineman in the conference?
I thought he was great tonight.
I also said so earlier on the Monday show that I was in. I looked at the PFF grades for their line, and actually, if you watched Trojan Blade, if you watch Gabe, he talked about the guards. I talked specifically about the center. That was really soft. Their center graded out against Hawaii at like 29%. 29, and that's a really low grade. 70 is a starter is roughly a starter in college football. This guy graded out against Hawaii as a 29, and I said that Bear was going to eat. You know, it wasn't much of a stretch, and they did. I'm not taking away from the performance, but you know, the interior line, you know, it was like we were facing Forsyth that they had last year over at Oregon. This was not a good line, but it's a good sign showing that they handled this line like they should. If they're an elite defensive line, they should throw around like rag dolls, and that's literally what they did. So it was great to see that.
Yeah, you're talking about getting out a chance to see Caleb because he's arguably going to be one of the best quarterbacks in school history. What about that frozen rope that he threw to Rice, 60-plus yards?
Yeah, jeez.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I mean, if that doesn't, I don't know. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm happy this week. Like I said, I call you guys every week. I appreciate y'all putting me on the show. Appreciate the good work that you guys are doing. Hey man, it's 2:30 on the East Coast, so I'm up this time of night listening to you guys.
On the East Coast, I hear you on that.
Hey, so keep doing your thing. I just want us to keep what's the slogan this year? The longer it goes, the better we get. I just want us to keep getting better each week, man.
That's
great
right.
call,
That's right, Avery. You do it, man.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate all of your calls, Avery. You always bring something.
Yeah, thanks. It's past my bedtime. Listen to you guys and fall asleep.
You know, on that pass, Avery. Before you go, it's if you watch, they showed the replay up of Caleb, and it showed like multiple angles, catch everything, and also then Caleb's follow through and watching it. He looked like a golfer on the tee box that just crushed a drive. He sat there. You can see him stepping back, looking at it. looking at it, and then he turns to the sidelines, and I'm assuming he pointed it at and Lincoln Riley, but he just turned after completion. He turns, he looks, he just nonchalantly just points, and I'm assuming he was pointing at Riley because that ball was in the air a long time, and it was a rope. I mean, it was like 60 yards on a line, and it was a beautiful throw. Again, we could talk all day about his arm. It's truly amazing with that guy. People talk about his legs, and he showed off his legs today, but man, he just has elite arm talent.
I think he's one of the best, like you stated.
He does. Hey guys, should we take? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just stating that I think he's one of the best. He's definitely gonna go down in history as the guy. So, I mean, it's a privilege to watch somebody of this talent and this ability. It's just a good time to be a Trojan fan. So, hey, the longer it goes, the better we get, and keep riding this thing.
You got it.
Fight on, Avery.
Yep.
Great
Fight
call,
on, Avery.
Right.
Thanks for calling.
Hey, I want to give
All
a
right,
shout
guys,
out.
should we take a minute?
There was a gentleman that was sitting behind me tonight. Oh, I just want to give a shout out. I mean, thank you, Avery, for giving us props and always tuning in the show. I also want to give a shout out to a gentleman who introduced himself. He was sitting behind me. He's like, "Hey, LBC, I love your show." And like my wife was laughing, and we were all laughing. He goes, "No, I watch your show. I really like your show." So, hey, Steve in Santa Monica, man, sitting behind me tonight. Big shout out for being a fan of the USC Postgame Live. It's great to see you this evening, and always fight on, brother. So we got
Steve.
fans out there, guys. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, hey guys, should we take a minute and dive into what else happened in the conference today? Some wild games that'll impact us down the way.
Let's do it.
All right. So definitely, and if anybody wants to join us, we've got the link right here. We'd love your take, and we also have it in the chat. And just a reminder for everybody in the Southern California area, we are going to have our group live from Tustin Brewing Company for our away game. So when we head to Arizona State, join us at Tustin Brewing. We'd love to have you. We'll be live after the show there in Tustin. So first of all, Utah looked sloppy and mediocre. I thought they got it done. They beat Baylor 20-13. Close game. Baylor had the opportunity to win at the end, but Utah pulled it off. What did you guys think of this Utah-Baylor game?
We know that Utah is a good team, but we also know Utah is not the same team on the road. And it was weird. This line, what was the line? It was like 6 or 7 points. I can't remember what it was. And you're thinking, geez, Baylor just lost to Wyoming, and you start thinking that way. And how could this line be so close? But then you got to realize that they're still missing people. Was Keefe? I didn't catch it. I watched part of the game. Did Keefe play in this game? I'm
not sure.
We know that Rising didn't play.
Quarterbacks are pretty mediocre too.
Yeah. It's a combination of they're not as good away and also at home they're juggernauts because of the altitude. And it's not the same thing. When they play at Rice Eccles, they're a whole different team.
Yeah, and like Rick said, no altitude, and they're playing in the worst of the Texas heat. I mean, it was so bad. The Baylor AD's shoes started to melt apart on the field.
Wow,
if that says anything. So yeah, definitely not a strong performance for Utah, but they went on the road, got out alive, and the mid-12 took yet another loss. Now the big game and one that changes the season, I think, for a lot of Pac-12 teams was this one right here. Roger Dodger, you're right. Bryson Shaw had a great game. Colorado just stuck it to Nebraska. Now we know that Nebraska is nothing too exciting. We saw them play pretty terribly against Minnesota, but guys, Colorado looked good today again.
Yeah, they continue to impress.
On this one?
Rick, what do you think? Colorado.
I thought Nebraska played a solid game the first half defensively, but their quarterback Sims, he just made too many mistakes. I mean, he's trying to force some throws, interceptions. They are just challenged offensively, Nebraska. And so they were feeling each other out. It was a close game. I think Deion said as he walked off the field the first half that they were like leaving too much on the table, that they needed to be dominant. They were dominant in the second half, so they made the adjustments. But Nebraska, they are a typical Big Ten team. They're pretty good defensively, but they have no offense. I mean, their offense is just predictable, pedestrian. It was sad really to watch, but it was like in the second half, it was like the bully just took it to them, and they really couldn't do anything. So, I mean, I'm not impressed by the Big Ten at all, to tell you the truth. I mean, you look at these teams, and I can't wait to get to the Big Ten. But credit Colorado. It was electric. The crowd was in it. I mean, it's a 10 a.m. start. And take a look at this. This team was, 1-11? And they filled out. Now, granted, Folsom Field's a lot smaller than the Colorado.
Why can't we on a third home game, 7:30 at Fox? Why can't we sell it out? It's pretty sad.
I hear you. All right, ready for the next one?
Let's hear it.
Well, just I really quick on Colorado on our the Pac-12 show. I said you just have to make Nebraska one dimensional, take away the run, and they're gonna have nothing. Try to make Sims win that game. That's why that's why I said if Colorado does that, then it's lights out Nebraska, and it seemed like that's what they kind of did.
You were right. They did. All right, Notre Dame, not a Pac-12 team, but one that we take on, stuck it pretty solidly to North Carolina State. This was a weird game. It had a huge weather delay at one point. Notre Dame was pretty slow to start off, and then later in the game just ran away with it. What do you guys think of the Irish today?
It looked weird in the beginning. Again, beginning of games, you're kind of feeling each other out. But when the Wolfpack started turning the ball over, then you could tell that Notre Dame had the better athletes. But they played them tough. They did. Notre Dame was forced to put a lot. I bet you Notre Dame was forced to put a lot on film that they probably didn't think they were going to have to in this game. It started out a lot closer than they thought. But I can't say enough. I've said it all year so far, and I'm going to continue to say it. Estime is a hell of a back, and he's a versatile back. He's not just a one-dimensional back, and he showed that breakaway speed now. So now he's had a couple long runs as well. That guy's big. He's like 6 foot ish, maybe 5'11", 220 pounds, and he moves piles. He's the kind of guy. If we do not set that edge, Tony, he's gone. He's gonna be gone. And so I'm really excited about the matchup because it's going to be tough. I'm worried still that it's in South Bend, but I didn't see anything in that defense that scares me. As far the defensively, sure their offense looks solid, but I'm telling you, they gave up 24 to NC State. If NC State had a decent quarterback, NC State puts at least 35 points on them. Easily. And so if can you imagine what we're gonna do on that defense? Honestly, there's going to be a couple more weeks till we get there. But nothing I saw in that game made me fear. Notre Dame usually has that front seven that's kind of fearsome, right? Or maybe that edge rusher is just lights out. But I didn't see that in this game, and I still haven't seen it yet this season. Offensively, great. Defensively, not worried at all. And if you don't have a good defense against USC, good luck trying to score as many points as we do.
All right. Next, let's take a look.
No, absolutely. I mean,
sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I was just going to say, Notre Dame, I didn't see much of the game, but, it's Sam Hartman, and they do have a great running back. But, Tim hit it on the head. If you don't have a good defense, how are you going to stop USC? Because in that game, Caleb Williams will play 4 quarters. And, I mean, if he played 4 quarters tonight, we were kind of laughing. USC could have broke 100 if they wanted to.
I kind of wish we had, I'm not going to lie.
I know. Exactly. Celebrate 100 years of the Coliseum. Send Stanford
with 100
out
points.
To the ACC. Exactly. We could have. So when we play against against Notre Dame, they're going to get four quarters of Caleb Williams and the first team wide receivers. I mean, look at the second team wide receivers that came in. Deuce Robinson, Jacoby Lane. I mean, I can't wait to play Notre Dame. It's going to be fun.
It will be. All right. Washington, who we play a little later this season, continue to look really strong. Just blasted Tulsa, a game, kind of not quite as dominant as our Stanford game, but definitely a real solid win. I don't know if you guys caught any of the Husky game.
I did not watch much of this
I did
game.
not.
I didn't
Yeah,
think
it
I didn't think it was gonna be much of a game, and it looks like
It
just
wasn't.
looking at that basic score, we know that was a blowout.
Yeah, it was. Washington looks strong. You know, kudos to the Huskies. Bow down to Washington. Y'all get a dub for that. Dubs up. Another wild game that you guys probably missed most of at the game, but Oregon had a wild night at Texas Tech. Now, whenever you go to Lubbock, it is a wild scenario. Weird things happen in Lubbock. It's kind of like the Big 12's version of Corvallis. But Oregon did escape with this wild win. Guys, I thought Oregon looked very beatable, very fallible tonight. Honestly, I'm not sure if they play like this, they don't beat Colorado. So I'm going to be real interested to see what they do in their next game.
Yeah, I'm chalking this game up to exactly what I just said about Notre Dame. Matter of fact, that Oregon defense, you know, is super suspect. It's not like Texas Tech is much better than Stanford, if at all better, to be honest with you. And to watch what Oregon was able to do. I mean, they put 38 points on against Texas Tech's defense as well. So not only did their defense struggle, but their offense seemed like it was a struggle. And they had trouble with the running quarterback, who Shuck. Okay, they were having trouble containing Shuck. Imagine what Caleb Williams is going to do to this team. It's going to be biblical, you guys. It's going to be glorious. we're going to absolutely walk in there and just completely destroy Eugene. Like that stadium might even collapse as Caleb walks out and dust and what removes the dust from his sandals as it never looks back, dude. He's just going to destroy that city and walk away, because I can't wait. I am literally excited about how bad that defense is.
Good catch on that one, Rick. I think you'll enjoy that Oregon defense.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see the game. I saw the score, but I'm kind of like disappointed in Oregon and Utah. It's not surprising though, because these guys talk about how, you know, USC has been, and you know, we have to hear about Utah beating us twice and going to 2 Rose Bowls. But, you know, it's much of the same thing. You go down to a poor Baylor team, and I don't care if you don't have your starting quarterback, and you have to pull it out in the last 4 minutes of the game. That was embarrassing, you know. And it sounds like this is much of the same with Oregon. You go down to Texas Tech after Texas Tech gets, you know, beat by Wyoming, and you know, you got Bodacious. The only way that Bodacious is going to make it to New York is on the side of a building, because his Heisman runs over. He's not going to be making it. It's going to be Caleb Williams and Penix are going to be representing the Pac-12, and maybe even Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is going to steal Bodacious's ticket in a couple of weeks in Corvallis. That's what's going to happen.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Or I'm sorry, in Eugene. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Really quick, Tony, I want to address this. The guy in the red hat, I'm not complaining about the defense. I said that there's still some things we need to clean up. Let's not decide that we're the 85 Bears, that we're the, you know, that all of a sudden we had a great game and we're the 21 Georgia Bulldogs. This is a great win. The defense is making leaps and strides. Matter of fact, Racetracks, if you're watching the whole show, I literally said that we fixed the problems that we had last year with players, and the problems we had on defense today are easily correctable. Game film and at practice, they'll be sorted out. This schedule is working out perfect. At first, we were worried about, it's so heavily loaded back end. It's actually working out perfectly for USC. The fact that we're getting all this time to get these guys developed, show them their mistakes on tape, correct them in practice. So Racer X, you might be getting the wrong end of the stick on that one.
All right, moving on. Another just a great game, guys. Cougs versus everybody. Washington State stuffed the Big Ten Badgers again. They had a field rushing today. There were a couple of Pac-12 field rushings today in week 2, which is pretty cool. Washington State stuck it to Wisconsin, beat them 31-22. They charged the field in Pullman, and it was a win that the Washington State community really needed. I think you guys were probably at the game during this, but any quick reactions to Washington State looking good against the Big Ten?
I was actually watching it on my phone because this is the one I wanted to see because I was pulling for the Cougs and the Beavs. I mean, they do need this kind of stuff. And on the was it the Wednesday show? I said it's tough to go into the Palouse. It's tough to go in there and win. Even and I think Wisconsin is getting better, but so is Washington State. Washington State played amazing. I'm blanking out on their running back's name, but dude can play. And I just knew, I've seen some really good USC teams go up to the Palouse and lose, and I'm seeing a shaky Wisconsin team the first year under a new coach go. You don't just simply roll into the Palouse and walk away with the win. So, Wisconsin, the Badgers just found out that you can't do that. Yeah, and you got to come to your A game to beat them. And good job,
right,
good job, Dickert. You got your team playing well.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Cam Moore looked good. It was amazing. They had a pick six while they were interviewing Pat Chun during the game, which was kind of fun to watch. Watch the AD start to go nuts, during a pick six. It was pretty cool. So to all our Coug fans, absolutely congratulations. And a game that was, I'll tell you, better than I thought. So Arizona could have won this game. Arguably, Arizona should have won this game. Went to overtime and actually was the Pac-12's first loss. Before this game, the Pac-12 was undefeated. Arizona falls at Mississippi State in the SEC, surrounded by cowbells, 31-24. Tell me your thoughts, Tim. I know there's no such thing as a moral victory, but if there was, this would be as close to it, I think, as I could come.
Well, as right as I was about Washington State, I was very wrong about Arizona. I was actually laughing at Arizona, saying this was going to be. I was assuming just talent. And it does look. I mean, I think the talent did probably play out in the end.
I think you're right.
But they have playmakers, right? I mean, we know that Arizona has playmakers. They still have Cowing there. They still have T-Mac there. And Delora could get hot. I mean, so I did not watch this game, but the score, they hung in there, and I'm just glad to see the SEC get a win out of conference. It was, it's been difficult for them to do the last couple of weeks. So good for the SEC. Maybe they can improve.
What was this? Only like the SEC's second win out of conference or something against a Power 5, I think.
I don't know, but when was the last time we saw, and I know Florida's been down for a while, but if you take away all the national championships from Florida, Alabama, and LSU, and all three of those teams, when was the last time we saw all three those teams lose in the first 1 or 2 weeks in out of conference games? And they sure as hell did that. So
it was fun. All right.
Debate.
Another game, really interesting game that I think came out pretty similar to how we expected it. UCLA, some sloppiness, but they pretty much rolled by San Diego State 35-10, handing the Aztecs their first loss. It was a road game at San Diego State. One of those rare times when the Pac-12 teams go to the Mountain West. But I give kudos to the Bruins. Dante Moore looked real good, and they rolled past them 35-10.
Did Dante Moore start that game?
I don't remember who actually started because I joined it a little after it had started.
I mean, to me, that was the only interesting is to look at the quarterback play, and so he played well. I'd like to see a little more than 30. I mean, I'd like to see a little more than 35 points, but it's five touchdowns, and hopefully the 4 of those are from Dante Moore. But
their defense looked good too. So it was not a perfect game, not an ideal game, but they come out with a win. All right.
Slap Happy always, if you say Dante Moore, he always brings in his Denty Moore joke. So you just have to have that one up there.
I like it, Slap Happy. Good to have you with us as always. Hey, how about this? So UC Davis, one of the better FCS teams out there. Reser Stadium was reopened with a grand reopening today, and the Beavs dealt out a solidly just steamrolling, dominating win. They were 55-7, and the game wasn't nearly as close as the score. I'd say today was a win for Oregon State with the facilities and the team.
Yeah, they keep chugging along. Good job for the Beavs. I'll be rooting for Oregon State and Washington State every damn game this year. These guys are too good of programs to be treated the way they've been treated. And I'm wishing them the best.
Me too. I was really excited for him on that one. And then in the sloppy, messy game that should not have ended the way it did, California. Hugh Freeze goes to Berkeley, whines about it, complains about it, hates everything about it. Cal has every opportunity to win the game, missed I don't even know how many field goals, blew opportunities. It seemed like every time they took one step forward, they then took two steps back. And unfortunately, Cal falls to Auburn 14-10.
Yeah, this is another one would have been interesting because then we could have actually taken another one of the national SEC national championships off the board for this year with a loss to Cal, Auburn having their one in there. So I didn't see any of this game as well. I wasn't able to watch it, but it's not a good look, regardless of a win or not for Auburn. It's not a good look. It looks like Cal's playing better defense. It might be that their offense kind of came down to earth, Tony. So they were moving the ball a lot and they're missing field goals. Is that what you said? Were they having trouble in the red zone?
5 field goals, something like that.
Oh wow!
I don't know exactly because I was flipping between a couple other games, and of course USC's game was at the same time. But this was a game Cal also had the ball, threw an interception in the end zone, very similar to Utah, Florida last year. With less than a minute to go or something, Cal throws an interception in the end zone and loses. And that was after all their other blown missed field goals and other opportunities.
So they're moving the ball between the 20s, but their red zone offense is gumming up when they play, I guess, a talented secondary.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say talented? Did I say talented and Auburn in the same sentence? With some athletes out there, I should say.
Yeah. This is just a game that's too bad. It's a game they should have won. And they didn't.
Yeah, isn't that kind of ironic? A Justin Wilcox, who was let go by USC, almost beats Auburn, and then 7-win Sark, who was fired from USC, gets rehabbed in Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban, and goes into Tuscaloosa and gets the biggest win of his career. So Alabama is arguably the second best team in the SEC, and they lose to Texas. And then Justin Wilcox almost beats Auburn. I don't know what it says about the SEC because Auburn is probably the 5th or 6th best team in the SEC, and Cal's like the 9th or 10th best team in the Pac-12. So goes to show that why SEC's teams don't travel west, because they should have lost that game. If Cal
those three
away, yeah,
those three share one thing in common as well. USC fans could not wait to see the back of all of three of those guys you just named, Rick. We couldn't. A lot of fans couldn't get rid of them fast enough. But again, I always thought, I said it back then. I said, if Kiffin's, it's not an issue of Kiffin being a coach. He just has to grow up and mature as a foot.
Right.
And they all did the Kiffin. They did the Saban car wash thing, and they came out on the other side of it. But I don't know about Sark, but Kiffin, I'm telling you, Kiffin's still relatively young, and he's gonna pop up somewhere in the right situation. I heard someone talking about Florida the other day, but I mean, you give Kiffin somewhere where he can recruit, like really recruit, and it's gonna be game time.
And they had an ex-USC quarterback in Jackson Dart that helped them win that game in Tulane today. But again, Tulane didn't have their quarterback. Pratt. They didn't have Michael Pratt, exactly. So you get Michael Pratt, that's a whole different game.
And hey, I want to just, Brian, thank you for super chat and thank you for helping support the channel. I'd rather we not really get into this because for those of you guys who don't know, there is a story today, USA Today, with lots of documentation, and ESPN also, lots of documentation about a sexual harassment issue at Michigan State University with their coach, Mel Tucker, who's struggled on the field as well, despite a massive, $90 million contract. There is an ongoing Title IX investigation at Michigan State. We understand there will be a Title IX hearing at Michigan State during their bye week, at which point that will be addressed. It is certainly an unfortunate circumstance for the Spartans. Should that situation develop as some people in the media are expecting it to, it could save Michigan State an $80 million buyout, which would be very interesting.
This goes to show you, Tony, that if you are unfireable because you are a player that's much loved by your school and you're the coach and you stay there, or if you're a coach that has a contract that cannot be bought out, you better keep your house in order, because they're looking for reasons to get rid of you. And they will find, if you're screwing up, they will find a way to get you removed.
Well, and in this case, I think that even a much loved individual would be on their way out. Again, if what is very well documented is found to be what it is claimed, but we'll find out more on that. Slap Happy, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate it. As always, Slap Happy, love having you in the chats. And Rick, we have a question for you from Jeff Rodriguez. And Jeff, thank you for the super chat as well. Rick, is it all the fight on Pale Ale or just cheering?
I was cheering tonight, guys. I had some great seats, and it was just, I was up all night just cheering because it was remarkable. I loved it. And yeah, I was just excited to see both the offense and the defense. I mean, how can you not? I mean, Caleb Williams was just amazing. And then Zachariah Branch, Brendan Rice, Dorian Singer, Tackett Curtis, Solomon Byrd. I mean, just Bear Alexander. I loved just defensively and offensively and special teams. So, yeah, I'm hoarse because of that.
Hey, are we still going to yell about not having a special teams coordinator? Can we put that aside for a little bit? They're booming some punts. We're running back.
Zachariah Branch is the special teams coordinator now. He's
that's what I was just going to say.
Well, Michael Jackson also returned that one. I'm dying to see that holding penalty.
Yeah.
And the kicking game looks absolutely solid. See, people keep saying that there's no special teams coach. No, there is. And matter of fact, we have two guys on the staff that were special teams coordinators in the past on their resume. So, I believe it's Hansen and I think it's McDonald as well. I think those guys both have coordinator experience. And then, like they did last year, they have an analyst that's kind of doing stuff. He can't do the on-field coaching, but when you watch the kicks, you see Kyle McDonald. When when the kick return stuff, it's Kyle McDonald's out there, and he's actually coaching them. So I think it's overplayed, and I think it's playing out that it's maybe not the worst thing in the world.
And then I think this is the last game of the Pac-12 tonight. Arizona State and Oklahoma State. I think most of us predicted this on the Pac-12 show on Wednesday. Arizona State, I thought, look, actually, guys, I'm sorry, this score is flipped. That's my bad. I was tired while I was making the chart. Arizona State lost to Oklahoma State. So it was just, I think they were just too much for them.
Yeah, we all know they're now crowned what we thought Stanford and Colorado to be. They are now the bottom of the barrel.
And we got here a question from Gixxer Squid, Tim and Rick. How far do you think USC will move up in the polls, if at all, especially after Alabama's loss?
Well, remember, you have what was Texas 13? Where was Texas?
Texas was like 11.
They're just outside the top 10, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if they leapfrog, but I think there's a really good chance USC ends up at 5 and then Texas is 6 maybe. But I wouldn't be shocked to see them pop ahead of leapfrog USC.
And there's some people that said they were going to put Texas at 1.
Well, that's
so
just
I think
crazy,
right.
But whatever. we knew Alabama was going to struggle this year. The writing was on the wall. Let's face it. I'm sorry. Who's their offensive coordinator? When you bring Tommy Rees in at the last minute because you miss out on hiring some coordinator from somewhere else that's probably better, and then you're bringing in quarterbacks because Milroe's not looking solid. It's not like any of this is a shock. So to jump them to 1, that's a bit silly.
I don't think you can really jump Texas all that much. I mean, you're going to jump them over Washington and Penn State. Washington and Penn State destroyed their competition. So did USC. OSU, not so much. I think OSU beat Youngstown State 35-7. If anything, USC could jump ahead of Ohio State. I don't think they will. But I don't think Texas jumps ahead of, I'd be surprised if they jump ahead of Washington and Penn State because those teams.
But the thing is, Rick, Washington hasn't played anybody. USC hasn't played anybody. That whether Alabama's a good team or not. Perception's going to say they're a top 5 team, and you just beat Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, right? That was in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Correct. So whether it's truly logical, if they're really going to go into, if they're going to look at advanced stats, maybe not. But a lot of these voters probably aren't going to do that. They're just going to look at, you went in Tuscaloosa, you beat the Tide, you beat Nick Saban. And it's Texas. They're back, baby. Right. We'll see. For a week they're back, but we'll see where it goes on from there.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, with what we've seen of the Big 12 this year so far, I think Texas will keep rolling. I mean, Iowa State looked bad. I mean, the whole conference looks very mediocre. Houston lost to Rice today. So much celebration for the Rice Owls as they beat Houston. It's funny, all the folks that scoffed at me when I said Rice was a program doing better. Rice just took down Houston. So there you go. Oh, and Jeff, thank you for your kind comment. I appreciate that. Our community is great, guys. The Trojan family is the place to be.
Yeah, Jeff, great supporter. Thanks again, as always, for being here and always bringing great comments.
So looking back on the game tonight, we get the bye week. What do you guys think is the most important thing for us to do here during the bye week?
Get healthy and work on those small things. I said they're going to look at the film. They're going to shore up that defense, and with correctable stuff. There's guys, they're still young. I mean, some of these guys are still learning. There's first timers on this team. You know, there's a couple plays. Christian Roland Wallace also had a great play. These guys are playing great and they're making great plays, but some of these guys, this is still their 3rd game in this scheme, and we're lucky to have these warm-up games. I'm just hoping that the little problems that apparently I'm complaining about, which I'm really not, I'm saying that the problems that were there, that were obvious, that made us a bad defense last year, are gone. Now they're just some things they got to tighten up. And Tony, 2 things: get healthy, keep getting Gentry healthy, right? Get everybody who can get back at least as close to 100% before we start this gauntlet, because this is going to be a gauntlet, and we're going to lose more guys. But get them healthy, shore up some of those big plays, those explosives that we're still kind of giving up to a team that will have much better talent than we saw on Stanford today, because those long plays will turn into touchdowns, and those touchdowns will turn into multiple touchdowns if we're not fixing those problems.
You know what I like seeing tonight? I saw Romello Height. This is the first game I really saw him make some plays. He had a tackle for loss. Romello had, I believe, 3 tackles, but it seemed like he was in on a lot more plays. So it was good to see him active. I think one of the things I also enjoyed seeing in the last quarter, you saw freshman Elijah Page on the offensive line, Alani Noah. You saw Killian O'Connor, who's a walk-on, playing center. You had Mason Murphy. You have a lot of offensive linemen that are getting extra reps, and they have been in these first 3 games. So, and then obviously it goes without saying, the wide receivers getting extra reps as well. There's a lot of players getting playing time, and on the defensive side of the ball as well. Defensive linemen rotating in and out. It's great because, you get the bye week, you're going to get to heal up, and like Tim said, you're going to go ahead and analyze, see where you're making mistakes, where you can correct them, and moving forward, it's going to be exciting to see all the depth that we have and to see who's going to be able to beat us 4 quarters straight up, because that's what it's going to take to beat USC.
And, going back to what Avery told us to remind us, the longer we go, the better we get, that mantra. And that's what we're going to see down this stretch. They put the time in during the spring. Benny Wiley got those guys hardened and ready to go. And they're putting in those extra reps in the weight room. They're doing those extra gassers, after practice. These guys are ready. And I do believe it. I think these guys are going to last. And that was a big thing that Caleb said. He said it was a focus because down the stretch we got hurt. He said, I got hurt. Guys got hurt. We can't do that. And when you put yourself in better condition, when you're physical in practice, because it strengthens your bones, it strengthens everything. Getting those hits, I think that this team is going to make a great run, and I can't wait to watch it. And you guys, if you're not getting out to the Coliseum, now we're getting some really good. We got Utah coming, right? You guys got to come out there. We got some payback for the Utes. And let's pack that Coliseum, because I'll tell you, Utah's going to travel, and if I have to hear Ute fans yelling because you guys didn't show up, it's gonna be, this team deserves better, right? And Riley's calling it out game after game. Why aren't we packing our stadium?
Well, we got Arizona before the Utes. We got Arizona on the 7th. Then we go to South Bend on the 14th, and we come back and we get the Utes. So we got to destroy Arizona.
Well, if we need a crowd for Arizona, then we're in trouble. But I mean, I think Rising will be back by then. And this is the last time we're going to get a shot at Utah, and we have some payback for them.
And Rick, where are we going to be for the away games?
Hey, we're going to make Tustin Brewing your home location for the USC away game. So come join us at Tustin Brewing. They just brought in Fight On Pale Ale. They'll have it for the games, but make that your USC home for the USC away games starting on the 23rd with ASU. And that game on the 30th against Colorado is turning out to be epic. So that's going to be a great game. Who knows? Colorado and USC can be undefeated and vying for first place in the Pac-12. So come join us down at Tustin Brewing. We're going to have former players. As soon as we get confirmation, they will be announced. But for the 5 games and a pending bowl game, we'll also be there for the bowl game.
That'll be a lot of fun. Wrong way. All right. Any last callers, guys? And hey, you guys watching, if you guys could just do us a huge favor, it makes a massive difference for Mark Rogers and the whole Voice of College Football community. I know everybody says it, but if you could just take a moment, hit the like button, whether it's on your phone or on your TV or whatever, it just takes just a moment to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed or you're new, we'd love to have you subscribe or turn on notifications. But just hitting that like button, that one little click, makes all the difference in the world for Mark and the Voice of College Football community. So we just take a second, do it. We really appreciate it. So guys, if no more calls, guys, we'd love to have you call. I know a lot of you have other family and stuff in bed, but unless we get any other calls here, give us kind of your last take. Sorry,
I've been saving a couple of comments in the chat, Tony, just some ones we couldn't get there, a little bit off topic when we were talking. But so here's one's pretty interesting. He says surprised that I think he's thinking Malachi. Malachi didn't get into the game at the end there. They kept. I think that the time is now to get Miller as many reps as possible. Also, the offense did look good. There was but it was a bit clunky. There were a couple 3 and outs. So I think they said, okay, let's build the confidence up, because the last thing you want is having the guy that came in have a couple of just have a couple of bad series, not his own fault, and just want to get him in the end zone. And they eventually did. Miller's came in 3 games, and Miller's led the team 3 touchdowns, right? Each time, led them down the field, and they've scored a touchdown. So, you guys thoughts on that at all?
I mean, that's what I assumed. I also don't know, because if he is less than, less than 4 games that he comes in or something, he can redshirt. I don't remember the exact number, but
yeah,
we'll see. That wouldn't surprise me at all if they don't want to burn that on him.
Jeff, another good point. He says, nice to see them let Gentry play a little bit. Don't want to let our special linebacker get hurt through in garbage time, which he did. Did he start? I think he might have even started. He came out and he was playing, but they did get him out of there. I think it's just keep him fresh, get him some game time, and then get him out, because he has been. She's nursing something, I would assume. That's why he's not playing. But nice to see him get in and get out. Good point, Jeff.
I love Miller Moss. I mean, I'm so comfortable watching that guy. That was the reason why my voice is hoarse, because how about that last touchdown he got? He ran it in. He took a hit at the goal line, stretched the ball. That was great. That was awesome, because his hip landed on the guy and he stretched the ball out. And I don't know, he scrambled for 7 or 8 yards, it seemed like. And to get that touchdown was that was great, because USC gave up that cheap touchdown, made it 49-10. You put up another touchdown, make it 56-10. I'm very comfortable with him leading the team. You could tell the guys that are out there, the freshmen, and second team offensive line, and you got Jacoby Lane and Deuce Robinson out there. Everybody loves this guy, and he's very capable. And so it's great to see him get these reps because they're meaningful, and he's a great quarterback.
Yeah, it's safe to say that if Caleb, for whatever reason, went down, let's say, in a championship game, that he's going to be ready. He's shown it. He's led on 3 drives, and that's the cool thing you said, Rick. 2 out of his 3 touchdowns he's led on the drive, he's finished them off.
Yeah.
So he had that read that he kept, and then also in this game he scrambled and got himself into the end zone.
And
just some slap happy, being happy about Wazoo.
Yeah, that was how huge was that?
It was big.
Yeah, I mean,
who'd you have on that, Tim? Did you take Wisconsin?
Nope. I said it's gonna be tough to go into the Palouse, and for the reasons I think that played out. And I say you just simply walk into the Palouse and walk away with the victory, and they did. You got to bring your A game.
And Wisconsin was number 19 with Luke Fickell, and how about that? Washington State. Yep, it's tough to play there.
Roger Dogger, great point. Rice was so far out in front. He had a different gear. And during the season, during the spring, they did this thing where they were looking at top end speeds and how fast they could go. And Rice was a guy that was up there. And last year, I was actually mocked for saying that Rice. This is true. I remember. I don't know who your name was. I don't write down receipts, but someone mocked me for saying that Rice is fast. Rice was like, I felt like he was like 30 yards. He wasn't, but he was so far out in front. It was a great throw. It didn't have to be. Caleb could just toss that ball. He could have sat there and waited 3 seconds, as that guy probably still would have caught up to him. So it's amazing. It's amazing how fast that guy is in high gears. He gets it going. And then this is the point I made earlier, Rick.
Yeah.
Passes were dropped all over college football, not at USC.
That's true.
There were a lot of important drops in a lot of different games. And again, it wouldn't have made a difference in this one, but there were guys that were wide open and a lot of drops in our game that we benefited from, and better teams are going to make those plays. But it just shows you how good our guys' hands are. We have not been seeing the drops we saw last year, Rick and Tony. Last year at times it was frustrating, our drops, but these guys are doing a great job taking these receivers. I'm grading them out as A's, man. These guys are playing awesome.
All of them.
You know what? How versatile is Marshawn Lloyd? Speaking of catching the ball, he can catch the ball in the backfield. He's got explosive speed.
He was great.
He finds a crease and he gets through it. Very tough. Gets his legs up and knows how to cut and move. Marshawn Lloyd, boy, what a difference maker to the running game this year. You know, along with Austin Jones, who's getting more explosion, and then Quentin Joyner. Those 3 guys have produced in the running game. It's very exciting to see, because you're going to have to deal with the running game and obviously the passing game when you play SC. So it's a well-balanced offense. And we're going to need that at Colorado, because part of what you got to do is you got to keep the ball away from Colorado and Shedeur Sanders. And part of that is keeping the ball on the ground, playing good defense, kind of like what Nebraska was doing in the first half. They weren't doing much offensively, but they were playing very strong defensively. You know, they're getting some first downs here and there, but they were trading blows with Colorado.
Yeah. Connor, again, we're pulling for the Beavs and we're pulling for the Cougs. Great job. Good job by the two-pack today. You guys are hanging tough. Well done. And then
a big 2-pack court hearing, 11 a.m. Pacific time in Whitman County, Washington on Monday to find out the future of control of the Pac-12.
Whatever happens, I hope that the Beavs run that stuff. So let's hope for the best. And then tight end delay. I can see it in your name. Hey, actually use Lake for some sweet pickup yards. Yeah, and I think Lake got into the end zone as well on that last Caleb touchdown. Yep. This guy, he came in pretty unheralded, but he was athletic. My first memories of him was last year. He climbed the ladder and absolutely got hammered. And now there's no way this guy held on the ball, and he held on to the ball at midfield. And then everyone remembers the hurdle he had against Notre Dame. And now we're seeing him much bigger in the blocking game as well. This guy is going to be a weapon, and he's going to be a weapon that'll be very useful on third down, goal lines, as we start to play the better competition, better defenses. What do you guys think of Lakes McCree's game, the last couple of games?
Looked good.
looks fantastic. You know, the one thing I was noticing too that Caleb was doing, and Tim, let me know if you saw this as well. You too, Tony. But he had 3 or 4 of these passes where he just dinked it. It was like a 2-yard pass. Like it looked like he was going to run, and then he just dumped it off, and the receiver caught it and then went into space. I'm waiting for Caleb. I was telling my friend, I'm like, he is going to like fake the pass, and then he's going to go for 30 yards. He's setting that up because he can find, I mean, there's just running lanes ahead of him. If he chooses not to pass the ball, right off, he could take off and run. So he's setting things up for the future. I mean, he's showing stuff on tape, but when we play against the better teams, I'm not going to be surprised to see him fake a little dink and then take it to the house.
There's so much they can do with that as well.
Yep.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me like of the old-fashioned speed option, but just a little different wrinkle on it, right? You got that guy running out in front of him, and he can keep it or he can toss it out. And they've ran a bunch of times today effectively. And all you need to do also is drag a trailer, like a slot guy over the middle. There was a third option, right? So let's say that guy comes up to cover Caleb. That's going to open up something behind there. I just, again, what Lincoln Riley's going to do, I mean, I probably can't even dream about it. He's setting up, I think you're right, Rick. He's setting up some big plays down the road, and they're going to watch that film, and knowing any, a Kiffin or a Riley or any of these guys that are just great offensive minds, this is all window dressing, Rick. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is all getting ready for on that third down and the crunch online. We're going to see like a Taj Washington roll over on drag across the middle. Caleb's going to fake the run and just boop, pop it over for 5-10 yards, and it's going to be it's glorious. Whatever Lincoln does, people get on Lincoln for a lot of reasons. I don't really get it, but one thing we do know is there is not a better play caller in the country than Lincoln Riley.
Well, I love that Lincoln Riley was getting on the refs for like 5 minutes ago, and we're up by like 45 points or whatever. And I got up in my seat and I'm yelling, "Yeah, you tell him." That's why I'm losing my voice too, because I was yelling at the refs. My God, they were ridiculous. What was the guy's name again, Tony? Who was the ref?
Duddy. Yeah, Duddy was the referee tonight. He's the one. I've never, in my life of football, I have never once, in my life of football, growing up, my dad's a football coach, I've never once heard of defensive delay of game.
Yeah,
that was not some weird. I mean, it was just like, what are they doing? Riley was hot. Duddy was as inept as usual. I don't know why these people work for the Pac-12.
Oh, well, I've seen that before. Disconcerting signals, they do that, and they usually call delay game on the defense for it. But it's like the game's a blowout.
Yeah,
it's probably a marginal call at best, and it's why Pac-12 refs. It's why you're out of a job next year. I don't think anyone's picking you guys up. You can go there and you can help box up the Pac-12 network, whatever you got to do. But you most likely, with performances like that, are not going to be coaching at least anything above high school going forward.
No, exactly. Not a good situation. Hey, once again, guys, for those of you guys that are still watching, we appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. If you could just take 1 second and just hit the like button. I know it's cheesy, but it makes a huge, huge difference for Mark and the whole Voice of College Football community. Just take that 1 second and hit the like button, and we really appreciate it. There you go. Tim's reminded us, like, subscribe, hit the notification.
And Bill, I mean, Rick came out with another video last week. He's putting out at least one a week now. And I'm saying it, eventually we're going to try to do a call-in show. So if you guys are enjoying the content and you would like to know when we're going live, it's great. A lot of you guys subscribe. Also, really quickly, there's 112 of you guys on right now. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are. You guys have subscribed to the channel. We're like 150 away from 4,000. That's a big goal of ours. If you haven't subscribed already, I'm willing to ask for it. Go ahead and hit that thing. Try to get us to 4,000. It'd be great if we get to 4,000 this week. Appreciate all of you guys being here. I know you guys have plenty of options. I saw a number of people that I watch on a weekly, daily basis all had post-game shows today, and a number of you guys showed up here, and I appreciate anyone spending their Saturday with us. It's a great day to be a Trojan, guys.
It is. All right. So, guys, tonight, the last meeting of USC and Stanford for the foreseeable future. hopefully not forever, but for the foreseeable future. Give me your final thoughts here on what a game this was, what it means for USC, and what it means for the season going forward.
Well, I didn't see the tree. Did anybody see the tree? And I heard the band was not invited, the Stanford band. So I didn't see them as well. But I'm excited that it was the last game with Stanford. A little bummed about it, but I'm excited about USC's performance. They exceeded my expectations. I thought the 29-point spread was ridiculous. I had USC winning 45-20, and USC wins 56-10. So that's 46 points. That was pretty remarkable. So I was there in 2007. Tavita Pritchard. That game scarred me like a lot of Trojans. So I had a little joy. Maybe that's why I was a little overzealous, losing my voice, but we let the farm have it tonight. I thought that I said to a few friends, if we shut down Urasek and take care of Filkins, they don't have much else. And, Ashton Daniels is a good little quarterback, but we knocked him out of the game. And so Stanford didn't have much. I thought it was great because they did look good against Hawaii. I like what Troy Taylor's doing with Stanford. They have a good recruiting class coming in. They're a quality program. And so for USC to put that number and saying adios to the Pac-12 and to Stanford, that was great. So we go into the break. We're 3-0. We'll correct some things, and then we go to the desert to ASU. Tim, what are your thoughts?
Stanford, I believe, is our oldest and longest rival. I'm not sure. It's either Cal or Stanford. I mean, but they're really close. Well over 100 meetings between USC and Stanford. So as far as I missed the tree, I did not miss that band. Well, I don't even like to call it a band, right? We know literally the secret's out. They don't even play. Some of those guys don't even play instruments, and the ones that do, it doesn't sound like they can. I'm not missing the band at all. But it is weird. It's going to be weird. Weekenders, no more weekenders. Going forward is going to be weird. But as John McKay said, so after the whole thing with what's your deal, right, with Jim Harbaugh trying to lay on points against Pete Carroll, it reminds you also, John McKay also had no love for it. He said, I wish we could beat these guys by 2,000 points, every time, or I wish we won by 2,000. McKay had no love for these guys as well. The fans, I will say, they were in the crowd tonight. The Stanford fans were great, very, very gracious in talking about the team. But I'm excited that it went down this way. We showed them and we showed class. We kicked the crap out of it. We walked on. This is going to be a week for us to look at some of the small mistakes. The defense is growing and it's amazing. We have all the pieces, and all the big spots where there were massive holes on have been fixed, have been shored up. Now is the issue of just clearing up some of those mistakes, setting that edge, getting rid of some of those explosives, and we're going to be ready for Colorado, Utah, Notre Dame, going on down the line. I'm excited. Get healthy in this couple of weeks. Shore up those problems. And USC is this defense. I want to hear. I want to hear about this defense this week. People are obviously going to crap on Stanford, but you guys, what you saw up the middle there and in the front seven, we got players now. We got guys that could ragdoll the bad offensive lines that we saw tonight. They're not going to have any problems. They're just going to go right through them like they did. So many guys, I can't wait to watch the game because it happened so fast. So many guys were in the backfield, you couldn't count the numbers, or the guys were back there so much. So I'm excited. I'm really excited, and excited to see you guys in a couple weeks on our next post-game show as well.
All right. Well, hey, you guys, this one was bittersweet for me because there's so much history between USC and Stanford. They are deeply integrated institutions, but at the same time, no love lost from each other. USC epitomizes the spirit of LA and Southern California. Stanford epitomizes the spirit of Silicon Valley and San Francisco and Northern California. So those are two spirits that have never gotten along well. And so this has always been a matchup that was always a clash of cultures, but also of great institutions where we all have great friends from Stanford. We have family members that went to Stanford. It's a place that we respect, but a place that we want to beat. And so nothing delights me more than for us to have just an absolutely dominating, solid win where USC looked great tonight. Nobody got hurt. We did what we needed to. Our defense looked great. And this was just, I thought, for the entire Trojan family and the University of Southern California community, as close to a perfect night as we're going to have.
Yep.
So fight on, Trojans. Great job to the team. Great job to Coach Riley. To every one of you guys in the chat, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending the night with us. And we look forward to seeing you on Monday night. Tim will be with Matt Zemek. On Wednesday, we'll be hosting the Pac-12 Chat Show Live, where we'll dig into the conference that we hope to win this year. And then in 2 weeks, we'll see you again for another USC postgame. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Be safe. And as always, fight on.
Fight on.